Time for another Soccer Down Here 1v1 in our tour of USL League One, and the playoffs continue. Time to catch up with Jimmy Weekley, the man on the touchline for Chattanooga Red Wolves. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1.
No, thank you for having me today.
All right, so let's go back and let me just ask it this way. How much of a challenge was this season for this organization to get through the regular season and get into the playoffs?
It was a tough task. It's been a goal since the beginning of the year, in the playoffs, and our guys have been resilient and have been competitive and keep competing at practice to get better. And so that's helped, and their attitude's been great. But with the coaching change and all that, the guys have responded really well. So I'm really proud of them in terms of how they've reacted to everything.
And one of the things that I like to introduce to our listeners is the competitive nature of USL League One in general. And I don't think unless you've lived it or experienced it or watched it, you don't know how crazy it is. You'll sit there and you look at the standings and it's like, man, everybody's bunched up and you've got a good week. And if you've got like a good 2-match week with a midweek and a weekend, you rocket up the standings. Or if it goes the inverse, you could be outside the playoff picture in its entirety. How crazy is USL League One for someone who's never seen it?
It's nuts. You're right. I mean, you're in second place after a win, and then you go and have a tie, and all of a sudden you fall down to sixth, or you have a loss, and now you're at eighth. It's very competitive, very good players, very good level. Teams are very well coached, very well organized. So, as much as we all would love a little separation, in the standings, it's a fun environment to be in terms of it keeps you on your toes, and you can't let up for a game, and you got to always put your best foot out there. And so, but extremely competitive league, extremely.
When you look at how the sport in and of itself has grown, I mean, you and I were talking before we started about your playing time in the Atlanta area and USISL, and you've seen the sport grow in the Southeast. I guess we'll kind of take it from a micro and build it to a macro. What's it been like to see it build there in Chattanooga at CHI Memorial with the USL League One with the Red Wolves?
It's been fun. It's almost like being with the startup of a business, right? We started from scratch with no stadium, no players, and here we are with a stadium that we've sold out the last 2 times we played, and a good roster. So it's been, I was joking with someone back in my younger days when the Chattanooga Railroaders were around. We'd have 25 people in the stands, and 20 of those were everybody's family members. And now you look at it, and we've got people following us, and fans travel to our games, and man, it's awesome to see the sport grow. And I think internet and YouTube and podcasts, and I think all those items have helped the sport even grow to where it is today, even in a little environment like Chattanooga.
Yeah, and then you look at it from the Southeast perspective, where the USL League One, I think, is almost the main representative for how it's grown here in the Southeast, where you've got all of these rivalries that are attached to it in the natural footprint, with Charlotte, who's in the playoffs, with Greenville, who's in the playoffs, with you, who are in the playoffs, with South Georgia Tormenta in Statesboro, Georgia, who are in the playoffs. And that southern footprint, that southeastern footprint, really has been representative of how the sport has grown here in the Southeast, where you look in larger leagues in first division, you're getting 50,000, 70,000, that kind of thing. But the rivalries and the anchor are here in these rivalries that you're seeing here in USL League One too.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. And now you look at the USL Academy. Now we have teams going to play each other that are our feeder teams, right? Hopefully, right? So it's really cool. It's really fun to see, and especially when you come into a league new like us, and you have a team like the Richmond Kickers who have been around forever. So it just adds more validity to our league that, organizations like Richmond are a part of it.
When you look at your roster this year, I know that for those who have followed USL League One, know some of the names like a Rafa Mensingen, who has been part and parcel to how things have been and the growth of the league. But for someone who is just wandering into the playoffs this weekend and be looking at your matchup against Union Omaha, who have been some of the standouts for you this season that have gotten you to the postseason?
Well, I would say our 2 center backs, Danny Navarro and Timmy Mell. Timmy is on loan from the Rowdies with us this season. Danny's been in USL Championship, an experienced guy. I would say those two, I don't think they get enough credit. they're definitely guys you want to watch. And then another young man, Jose Carrera, he's our captain. He plays the six for us. Some reason the sixes don't get a lot of credit, and they do a lot of work. And but I would say those three for us are guys you would enjoy watching play. The way they move off the ball, the way they are on the ball, the way they attack, the way they defend. If I had to give you an attacking guy, probably Ernesto Espinoza. We call him Mo. He's a rookie this year, young man. Has come on late scoring goals for us, and he's just you hear fans kind of gasping the second he gets on the ball around goal, like they know, okay, something good's about to possibly happen, and so I would say him also, but yeah, it's good.
Pretty balanced across the board when you're looking at because I know that when we talk American football, some folks like to mention the offensive lineman and the defensive lineman instead of the quarterback, the running back, and the wide receivers, where you gravitated instantly toward the guys that don't get a lot of love unless they make a mistake. But that's been key for the Red in and of itself this year. And when you look at Union Omaha, they've been predicated as well with stout goalkeeping as well across the board this season. When you've gone into study hall this week getting ready for Union Omaha and the Owls coming to town, what has study hall been like getting ready for this one?
Gosh, they're a very athletic group. Jay's got them very organized defensively. They love to come at you. Like they want to get numbers forward as quickly as possible, get stuff served, get the ball served into the box. Their guys love running at you. I would say one of their players that I just love, this guy, young man. He was with us the first 2 years, is a guy like Connor Doyle for them. Like I don't think he gets enough credit. He's a tremendous player. He's kind of their playmaker. But yeah, I mean, we gotta take Doyle away as much as possible, and then you got Herzog up front, Brita. I mean, all these different guys that have been scoring goals for them at different times, and it's not like you just have to stop one guy. There's a handful of them you have to really be mindful of around the 18. So it's going to be important for us to keep our shape and defend very well. And they make you pay for your mistakes.
What did you learn about yourself? Because I was in Statesboro for the season finale. What did you learn about yourselves in that match against South Georgia Tormenta in the last week of the regular season that you think can carry you into the playoffs as a lesson learned that can help your portfolio going forward?
I think because we got into the playoffs the week before, and we do have a fairly young team when you look across the board of the age of our guys, I think it was like a weight was lifted off. We got into the playoffs. And so our message was, guys, we got a great opportunity here to really improve our seating. But I think along there, I'll take it on myself. I don't think we as a staff did a very good job preparing them for some things that Tormenta was going to throw at us. And it's easy to sit back and go, guys, I apologize, but we should have done X, Y, and Z after we saw this. And but I think we're well prepared for Omaha. This being our fourth time we played them. But I think just learning not to be complacent and look, there's opportunity before us still. This is a new season. So I think learning that in Statesboro is important for us.
Jimmy Weekley, the man on the touchline for the Chattanooga Red Wolves, hanging out with us right now for another couple of minutes on a Soccer Down Here 1v1, previewing the USL League One playoffs with Union Omaha coming to town. Murder Owls and Red Wolves this weekend in USL League One in the first round. So you mentioned this is the fourth time that you've played them. Take me through those other three matches and your experiences, once again, those lessons that you've learned that will help you here in game number 4.
Well, we can't let them score early. That's one. The game here in Chat, they scored, I think, maybe 2 or 3 minutes in. And then, man, they sat and kept their shape and looked to countered. And they were really hard to break down. And I think we were only dangerous a few times where we had good opportunities. So that's the first thing. We really got to come out on the front foot. The last 2 games, we've gone off to a slow start the first 15 minutes. And then we've gotten going. And our 2 other games were so different there. We were up in both of them and ended up tying one, ended up losing one. Well, one of them we were down a man, and one of them we were up a man. And so I think the message to our guys, I think we learned, is you cannot turn off mentally. If you turn off mentally for a second, the ball's in the back of the net. And we did that twice in we did that 3 times actually in those 2 games there. Is we had one let down one guy just disconnect just for a second, and they finish an opportunity. And so I've seen the guys be a little more focused later in games than we have been against them. And so I'm hoping that lesson carries over into the playoffs, that we're really focused, not just the last 10 minutes of the game, but hopefully the whole 90 plus, right? But those were the moments where we were turning off, that kind of 85th minute on. We seem to have a little bit of this mental lapse, and we can't do that against them.
Last question for you, and thanks for hanging out. For someone who's never been to a match at CHI Memorial, and this might be their first foray, provided there are tickets available so they can dive in and watch, what are folks missing out on when they haven't been to a match at CHI Memorial that you would recommend as quality weekend entertainment?
Gosh, well, first of all, the stadium's great. It's not completed all the way, but what's completed, you're close to the action. You're literally right on top of the field. So I'd say that adds to it. And then, we play a very possession style game that's fun to watch. And I believe Omaha, they're fun to watch in their style. But also I would add, I've only done this once, but I've had food sent to me on the sideline before the game once because it smelled so good. But the food's unbelievable. Caroline, our stadium director, has done a great job with what she brings in and all the events going on around. I can't tell you every event that's going on. I haven't really focused on all that. But yeah, I know they're doing like a pre-game party and $2 beer, and it's a fun, raucous environment, and our fans make it fun. And we're right here off of 75 South, 75 North at Exit 1, so it's really easy to get to. We've had people drive by who see lights on, who pull in and buy a ticket and come to a game. So it's really cool. It's a fun environment. It's always a blast to play here and play at home. So we're looking forward to it. And if you've not been to CHI Memorial, come on. It's a fun environment to be in.
Red Wolves and Murder Owls coming up this weekend, first round of the playoffs in USL League One. Jimmy Weekley, the man on the touchline for Chattanooga. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us for a Soccer Down Here 1v1. We'll be keeping an eye on the first round of the playoffs. Good luck against Union Omaha this weekend.
Hey, thank you so much, and thanks for having me. And also just want to thank you for all you do for the growth of our game. This is awesome. Really appreciate you guys.